Everyone, it's Nicole, and I'm here with another layout. This is layout number 12 out of 26 that I did at the crop back in October. This one took me 24 minutes, so it came together pretty quickly. What I liked about this one was I had a page from Simple Stories, the ones that you can cut apart. And when I looked at that, I was like, you know what? I'm going to cut that in a couple of pieces. There was one that was about 1.5 inch. The other one was about 3 inches. And I thought I can put that one at the bottom of the layout, one at the top of the layout. I can add a few photos and boom, my layout is done. And while I'm gluing those down, I just want to tell you that thank you for all the well wishes about, feeling better. Man, that took me out. And of course, it's my fault because the first few days I was like, oh, I can keep going, and still, went upstairs and worked like 3 hours and then edited videos all afternoon. And then by the third day, I was like, okay, I cannot do anything and just kind of did nothing for 2 days except read. And I have to tell you, I had just finished book 9 for 2023, and we're January 9th today or 10th. We're January 9th today. And I finished my 9th book yesterday. So, geez, I'm, racking up those books read already. But I'm feeling so much better. And of course, today I got up and I did about a million things, but it's 3:30 right now, and I've been going since 9 o'clock this morning. But I think this will be the last thing I'm going to do today. And then I'm going to take a little break and then I'll cook supper. But, you know, to get back to this layout, I did that. I went and I put a strip at the top, a strip at the bottom, and I still end up putting 5 pictures on this layout, which I love. The pictures are about 3, I would say 3 by maybe 3? No, 3 by 4, I would say. Yes, they're 4 inches wide and 3 inches deep, I would say. So 2 of those photos make my 4 by 6. But I love it. With one glance, you can see, quite a bit of this place that we went to. This was, actually, it's called right there, Potager Montrouge. That was one of the harvest hosts that we went to. It was actually our first harvest host, and it was wonderful. They had a huge place where you could buy like fruits and vegetables and all kinds of stuff, meats, anything you wanted. They even had soaps. They had spices. They had everything. We got Mason a cold drink and just everything. Then they had another spot where the kids could jump on, like it was like an airbag thing. Then in the back, they had animals. So there was a spot where he went in and he saw chickens and ducks and, that kind of things. And then we went to another place, and there was cows and mules. And then where we camped, there was like an apple orchard. And it just happened to be the, um, the NHL. It was for the Stanley Cup. It was for the Stanley Cup, like the last, game. And they watched it on my iPhone because even though they didn't have Wi-Fi, I had lots of data on my phone. So they watched it. I didn't bother watching it because already there was like 4 people, trying to watch it around a small phone. I was like, I'm good. I'll just watch something else. But, so to them, it's a big experience that, and I don't even know if they took a picture of that. It would be kind of cool if they would have, but I don't think they did. They didn't think about that. But that would have been cool to take a picture of that. And maybe I'll just take a picture of my phone and then I can just do the story. Because just because you didn't take a picture of the actual thing, you can still make a layout about it, right? Because they still talk about how they watched the Stanley Cup on a phone in the middle of an orchard, right? So that's pretty cool. So I definitely want to make a page about that. But all that to say, one page layout, but look at all the stuff that I packed on there. I love that. I ended up putting 2 washi tapes. I think, looking back at it, it's like yellow and white, and the white is kind of transparent. I wish it had a little bit more color, but it still stands out, so that's okay. And then I end up making a few clusters, and in those clusters, I ended up using some wood veneer, which for me, I don't use enough wood veneer. That has to be something that I try to use a little bit more of because I have a ton. I have drawers and drawers full of, wood veneer. And then once I have pretty much everything down, then I go through, everything that I pulled for this layout, and then I kind of you know, put it in this layout or in this cluster and that cluster and kind of see what else I can add and kind of finish off those clusters. And while I'm finishing that, I just want to remind you that I'm having a virtual crop January 27th to 29th. We're going to talk again about my trip because even though we talked about it for almost 10 hours, the last virtual crop, all the stories didn't come out. So we're going to be doing more pages of the trip, and we're going to be talking more about all the adventures that we had during that trip. One thing that I like to do when I do a page like that, I like to put the month that I created the page and what I created the page for. So whether I was at a crop, whether it was for YouTube, whether it was for Patreon, just for my own knowledge. Plus, I have a counter on my phone where I keep track of all the layouts that I've done in the whole year. And another thing that I keep track of is how many ATG rolls that I use in a year. I have to say, I probably forgot to write down a couple of them, but that's okay. At least I have a general idea. And then the last thing I'm going to do, and I'm so thankful that I got my journaling done before I went to the crop, I'm going to add my journaling to the layout. And that's it. That's going to complete this layout. And here are some pictures of the layout. And again, I just want to say a huge, huge thank you to all my patrons for all your support. And that's it. That's going to complete this layout. And I want to thank you so much for watching. Bye.